Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to the third and final installment of Chips in the Cookie. Now, some people ask, chips in the cookie, where does that come from? Well, imagine you go anywhere, theater, work, the store, go visiting some people, and you look around and you notice, huh, I'm the only chip in the cookie. Voila. So today's discussion is about Black women facing the trials and tribulations Black women face navigating in white spaces. So I just want to take a moment for you to listen to our voice and say her name. Maya? We're going to do the names and then I'll do the intros.
Okay.
I think I'm first.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Paula.
All right, it's okay. Tanisha Anderson.
Ayanna Jones.
Deborah Danner.
Joyce Kwawe.
Betty Jones.
Natasha McKenna.
Cynthia Fields.
Tatiana Jefferson.
Nuwa LaRoche.
Rhea Milton.
Remy Fells.
Breonna Taylor.
Remember those names. They're not here anymore. So, diving in, I would love to introduce our beautiful and lovely panel of ladies who have come to join me for this. And I'm going to start with the wonderful and lovely Tisa Cherie Evans. Miss Tisa,
Hi.
say hello.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tisa, and I've lived in the New York City tri-state area for, wow, almost 19 years now, and have known Candace for most of that time. And I'm a performing artist, actor, writer, director, voiceover, promo model, and also some event production and event management.
Thank you. And this wonderful, wonderful woman, Paula Galloway.
Hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Paula Galloway. I am a mother and an actor. I've been living in the New York area about 13 years. I've been living in New York 13 years, but I was born here and then I moved to Jersey. But I've been living here for some time, and I have one little boy, and I am so thrilled. I'm proud to have been part of this. Really, really proud. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And my favorite fairy godmother, and hopefully yours, the stunning Maya Jordan.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Maya, and thank you all for attending the panel. Thank you, as per usual, Candace, for coming up with this wonderful idea for the series and for inviting us. And thank you to my fellow panelists. You are all wonderful. Who am I? Just to reiterate, if this is your first time coming to a CHIPS series event, I'm a singer and an actor and a film composer, and I co-run a film production company with my husband. And I also work at the cross-section of nonprofits and the creative arts. And I'm a nerd, and I love the woods, and I'm also a fairy godmother.
Mm-hmm. It's
Fact.
true.
Fact.
It's true.
And last but not least, my ride or die, Miss Mara Thomas.
Hey everyone. I am in fact Candace's ride or die. I am affectionately also known as her bottom bitch. You know I love you, babe. I am a chef. I'm a pastry chef, an award-winning pastry chef. Candace likes to make me say that. I am a lover of all things food. I am a bit of a food geek. Okay, more than a bit of a food geek, a food historian. I'm a culinary arts instructor. I want the world to eat and enjoy and indulge and heal through that. So, and I want to thank all of the amazing women on this panel. Like, you guys don't even understand. Getting to know these chicks has been fascinating. When you think you've met all of the amazing women in the world, then you get these women together and you're like, whoa, this is amazing. So thank you all for sharing your love, your kindness, your voices. And thank you, Candace, for bringing it all together. Much love, babe.
Much love. And finally, because I have a bad habit of forgetting to do this, I am Candace Kendall Brown, aka CK Brown, and I am proudly the mother of giants.
That's the truth.
Absolutely.
That is the truth.
Once again, this is to share our stories with you, to give you guys some insight as to what we deal with on a daily basis. On our first panel, we talked about the Black experience, both male and female. On our second panel, we dealt with biracial and multiracial people and families. This one is specific. It's about Black women and how we have to not only navigate, but swim through and strive and soldier on in a very European white world. And we're going to go through a few topics. The first one we're going to start with beauty standards.
Ooh, we just gonna get straight into it, huh?
Jumping right into it. Beauty standards.
Oh, thank God I brought this. All right.
And I'm just going to start with one little thing. I remember growing up, and two things I was told. If you were lighter than a brown paper bag.
The brown paper bag test.
The paper bag test.
The other thing was, and my own mother told me this, a woman's beauty lies in her hair.
Oh boy.
Ladies, I bring the floor to you. Can you tell me, share with us some experiences you've had in which us, in our natural glory, just didn't cut it? Anyone want to jump in for that?
Oh, honey. Hang on.
Miss Paula.
Okay,
let's go.
So
dive in.
All right, so we all know that this stuff has been going on for years. Now, we didn't know, I personally did not know that historically it all started with, of course, in the days, in the colonial days during slavery and everything like that, we were forced to cover our natural hair. Now, we've been told it was because it was an affront, because it was offensive, because this, that, and everything else. It wasn't until recently that I discovered that that's not entirely true. You were forced to cover your hair because apparently for the plantation owners, it was an aphrodisiac. This completely threw me, because I've been told most of my life, and I imagine a good amount of us also have been told, that our hair was not good enough. It was too kinky, it was too curly, it was too nappy. Now, I've had nappy hair my whole life, and I've gone through all of the phases. I went through getting it pressed, getting it relaxed, doing the lie and everything like that. Girl, I even got a Jerry curl. I begged my mother to give me a Jerry curl, and looking back on those pictures these days, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? My father hated this idea. He absolutely hated this idea. He's just like, there's nothing wrong with your hair, but he couldn't explain why. And he also couldn't explain why, no matter what he said, all the kids around me were more than happy to tell me that my hair was too nappy. Mind you, I was surrounded by other Black kids. But they all had moms who would like press it out, or they would have it, tied into big braids and everything like that. Something that I could not acquire. So it was very easy to pick on me. My hair was natural. It just it didn't fit right, and I was dark skinned. And from a very young age, you learn very quickly that those attributes are not only not appreciated, they bring you down in value. They bring you down in value. And one of the greatest examples of this that I have ever seen, a couple of years ago, y'all remember Straight Outta Compton, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, some of you might have remembered the controversy regarding their breakdown. If not, allow me to remind you. There was an entire breakdown in the acting world, because that's what I do. I look at the industry stuff. And there's always something that's going to have you be, that's going to have it categorized according to what they want. They want the blondes, they want the brunettes, they want this skinny little thing and all this and all of that. But Straight Outta Compton was a whole other level. Mind you, the entire thing was all about oh God. And now their name is escaping me. Why? Eazy-E.
NWA.
NWA. Thank you. Oh yes, NWA. And the whole thing was about that. And I was like, okay, well, lots of brothers and sisters are gonna get work. That's fantastic, because that doesn't happen very often. And then I looked at the breakdown. The women were categorized to audition in 4 different categories: A, B, C, and D. The A girls, they had to have straight hair, natural straight hair, natural wavy hair, something that's long and luscious and everything like that. The B girls were the ones who could maybe get away with having the hair that looked a little bit more kinky, but you had to be light skinned to do it. And then it kept going on and on and on. And you had to be a certain size, you had to fit a certain dress, etc. and so on, until you got to category D. That was the dark skin, the natural hair, the short natural hair. And if you were in that category, you were the D-list girls that were, my guess is, in the movie, I still haven't seen the movie, mind you, my guess is they were the ones that were rejected from all of the fellas in the movie, in the group. And I was just like, that just kind of encapsulates your entire life.
Yeah.
And there it was, just sitting right there in front of me. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. And the worst part is that's not just the movie industry. That's the planet. That's the world.
Here's a funny thing. Before all of you joined us, we were watching the one and only music video I ever did. And all the women in that music video, the women that they picked, the long hair, the more European features. Even though I was the textbook island girl, it didn't help that I was a good foot taller than the guy. But all the women in the room, and I stood out because, and I even mentioned to you guys, I said, look at my hair in there. And it was just like sitting there with it. Some women will remember this, the hot comb on the stove.
Yes, ma'am.
Before you go to church.
The back of my ears still ache at the memory. Yes.
Permanent burn marks.
Back here, way back here.
Because
we all went through it.
We are told that our natural hair is not professional. It looks messy. It's not neat. It's hard to take us seriously. I had a coworker, beautiful woman.
I believe the word is unkempt. I believe unkempt comes up. Yeah.
She had the fro, like the Jackson 5 were like, damn, we want your fro.
Yes.
She was in a meeting with a coworker, and he spent the whole meeting just staring at her hair.
Oh, geez.
because he was like, and then he was like, your hair, it's just groovy.
Me?
See, y'all gonna make me go through this glass. Watch me go through this glass.
That's
Can I
just
throw in something?
groovy. Oh, please do, Miss Teaser.
Because I did grow up with a lot of what would be deemed desirable features, I guess. And my parents did a wonderful job, though, of just making me feel beautiful as a Black woman. So I would like to say it starts at home with making sure that your Black daughters know how beautiful they are. We always had figurines up of Black women of all shades. And if my mother had certain things in the house that were that didn't come in brown, she would paint it the colors so she so desired before she put it up. But when you say what you say about the just being taken with the hair in the boardroom, it reminds me of a story when I was going in for an interview at a very upscale, well-known place. And a fellow Black woman who I had worked with before, she was actually my boss. I had contacted her to see about working there. It would have been a good place for an entertainer to work a supplemental job and still do what they need to do, but very status oriented. And she said, you know, I love you, Black woman now, fellow Black woman. You know, I love you. And you know how beautiful I think you are. And I know you do a great job with your hair. But for the interview, when you come in, I'm going to want you to, because I know how these boys think. And so I had to go through the whole process, you know, and it never dawned on me because people have always had their hand up in my hair in an unwelcome fashion. I remember being in school and people saying things like, "Ooh, it feels like cotton," because I would have white girls like just think they could play with my hair in school. It was very annoying. So, but when she told me, she was like, I just need you to straighten it. And then if you get the job and you've been there for like 2 or 3 months and they get comfortable with you and they get to know you, then you can slowly let it get curly again. But they're going to need to know you first, because I know you're not going to get past the first interview with your hair curly. So I did what she said. And I mean, it was straight to the bone too. It was straight. And I put exactly on what she told me to put on. And she was like, you did so well. When you left, they said you look like a poster child for the company. So,
a poster child or a token poster child?
I look like a poster child for them. I made it all the way through. Then I ended up being too overqualified, but I made it all the way through to the very end. And I had to keep my hair like that for the entire period, which was like a 6-week interview process.
Jesus.
To make sure that it was straight the whole time, every time I came in. And I would show her what I was wearing. But she basically was like, she goes, I know you won't get the job unless you do this. I work with these boys. That's what she called them, you know, the good old boys. I work with these boys every day. And I've seen other women of color go down. Overqualified women or women who are qualified for positions, I have seen them go down because of what they look like with their hair, or their earrings were too big. Something about them was too ethnic. And I am this now so I can get you as far as I can in this process.
Maya?
So I'm in the position of getting things from both sides, because if you're new to the CHIP series, I am multiracial, I am Black, I am Indigenous, and I am white. So I have the lighter skin, I have the longer hair, I have these certain features. And so I get from white people being too ethnic, and then from people of color, there's also often the assumption that I think that I am better than other people. Like I instantly get a reaction from people as if I'm treating them like I'm the snob, because there's the assumption that I think I'm better, that I think my features are better. The hair thing is a big thing for women of color and for Black women. And I went to Catholic school for elementary school growing up. I'm originally from Michigan. And all of the Black girls and Hispanic girls in school who had curlier hair straightened their hair. And there's nothing wrong with that. A woman can do whatever the hell she wants to do with her hair, right? I did not straighten my hair. My hair is like 5 different textures. Depending on what brush I use, sometimes it's straighter. Depending on the humidity, sometimes it's super curly and wavy. It does whatever the hell it wants to do because it just has a mind of its own. But I've never used any sort of like process to straighten my hair. And also there's a myth that only women of color use processes to straighten.
Yeah, that's such a myth.
Yeah. That's a huge myth.
Huge.
But I didn't use any sort of chemical process to straighten my hair, and I just, wore it however. And there was a nun at my school called Sister Mary Justice. Yes, that was her real name, Sister Mary Justice. And she pulled me aside. I'm 7, I think. And she told me that I needed to stop wearing my hair completely down, because I wear it sometimes. My go-to is braids, but sometimes I'd wear it all the way down. And it was a particularly humid day, so my hair was extra curly instead of a little more straight. And she said, you can't wear your hair down like that. And you should straighten your hair like the other girls in school, because your curly hair is ungodly.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, what?
Your curly hair is ungodly, said Sister Mary Justice to 7-year-old.
To a 7-year-old.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah. And like, luckily, home life, family life, supportive life, like that.
Yeah.
I didn't walk away from that thinking that my hair was ungodly. What I did walk away thinking about was my other friends who were darker than me, who didn't naturally have hair like I did and felt even worse. And what was she saying to them?
Yeah.
Like, how many of my Black friends in school were straightening their hair, not because it was a fashion choice, but because Sister Mary Justice pulled them aside and told them that their hair was ungodly or worse.
Yeah.
I used to get teased because I always rocked a fro in school, in a predominantly Black school now. And I was called Sponge
Oh, geez.
because of my hair. One of the many names I got called. Miss Tamara.
So, this has been, obviously, it's a humongous point of contention for all of us. The standards of beauty that we are supposed to be dealing with, or supposed to be conforming to, I guess, at some point.
Right.
But one of the things that I had noticed, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, I'd say 15 years ago or so, the message was still negative, but got switched. So there's a writer, Junot Diaz. He is a great writer, and he made a quote once that racism and white superiority needs minorities to buy into it in order for it to exist.
Right.
In order for it to maintain, it has to have our buy-in. So about 15 years ago, for a while, it was, white people telling us, you got to look like this. The only standard of beauty is this European standard. The only standard of beauty is this European standard. The only standard of beauty. And then people of color and women of color said, okay, well, let me adopt some of these European standards of beauty. So we got our blonde hair, and some got blue eyes, and some straightened, and some went natural, and some did a whole bunch of different things. And then the notive, but then, and this is where it gets interesting, then the narrative changed. So now it's not, you have to be this because this is the standard of beauty. Now it's, if you rock your blonde hair, then you clearly hate yourself. Now it's, if you aren't natural, then you clearly hate yourself. Now it's, if you were born light-skinned or with light eyes, then you hate yourself and you hate anyone who doesn't look like that. The narrative changed. And for me, that's when I realized that it was never about beauty.
Mm.
It was always about control.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's always about
Yes.
policing Black and brown bodies. It's always about controlling Black and brown bodies.
Mhm.
I don't hate myself. And quite honestly, I decided a couple of weeks ago that this was my summer of blonde. So every time y'all see me, it's gonna have a different shade of blonde on. And that isn't, if you know me, or even if you don't know me, I don't hate myself. Y'all, I am the shit. Okay. So please don't ever think that I hate myself. I don't.
Sorry, I'm having
But
trouble hearing you.
the thing is that if someone is trying to control you, they will try to control your narrative. They will try to control what you think about you and your beauty. And I don't think that little Black girls running around with blonde hair on, with wigs or weaves or naturals or fades or whatever the hell she wants to do, I don't think that's about self-hate. I think it's about self-expression. I think that we need to stop policing each other. I think that white folks need to stop worrying about what I'm doing when I get dressed.
Hello.
And it has to be about letting individuals be individuals.
Right.
If I want to rock blonde hair, I'm gonna rock blonde hair. And it doesn't make me want to be a white girl, because I damn sure don't want to be a white girl.
And if you want to wear red, bright red lipstick,
It doesn't make me a
wear
whore.
bright. And not only that, but I have heard so many times, told so many times, that on darker skin women should
Oh
never
no, it looks
wear
better on darker
bright
skinned
red
women. Are you kidding
lipstick.
me?
And I'm like, what? And it takes me back to there's a program that comes on everywhere. It's called Black Girls Rock.
Oh
And
yeah.
there is this lovely speech that spoke to me. And after I say this, I'm going to jump onto our next topic because it will segue into it. I have full ass lips.
Mhm.
I have the big eyes. I've got the humongous tatas. I've got so much ass that I could put tchotchkes on it. I've got shellfish. Yet, all of these things combined on my body is not seen as beautiful. Many, 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 many years ago, Venus,
Hottentot Venus. Yep.
yes,
Yep.
was on display. I saw a picture of this woman and I was like, shit, that's my body. My body was on display as a curiosity. It's a good thing I'm born in this time because I would have killed people for that.
Yeah.
And yet, my body, what I look like, is still not considered beautiful. My
Unless it's
gap,
on Kim Kardashian.
Hello.
right? My gap,
Mhm.
you know, on a pale person, oh, that's cute. But on me, it's ugly. I had a dentist come up to me in the street to tell me I could fix that for you so you could be attractive.
Now the question is, would he do that with anybody else? Would he do that with
No.
with some white girl who randomly had a gap?
No.
What is that one chick
This
who
is
does
you.
have the gap? There's like some.
No, there's
few.
a couple
There's a
couple
few.
models out there.
Yeah, who have the
And
gap,
these,
and they're like,
Who are famous for their
Right.
yeah,
for
Yeah.
for their
everything.
gaps. Yeah.
Julia Roberts was famous for the lips. And I'm like, I got made fun of for my lips.
It's
Mhm.
about control.
Can I just say this also, because I know a lot of this, we have years of history as far as, remembering things that we've been told and said. And
Yeah.
when you say it's about control, it's interesting how early it starts with
Yes.
non-Black children realizing that they're supposedly a little bit higher
Better.
on the attractive scale. I
They're
remember
higher in the heart.
the first time I was 8 years old and I had a best girlfriend in elementary school and her name was Julie. I'm not saying her last name, so she's still, but I remember sitting at the lunchroom table and she specifically says to me, so who do you think has the prettier skin tone? White skin is prettier, or do you think Hawaiian skin is prettier? She basically went down this whole list of skin tones.
Mhm.
Didn't mention Black or anything that would have been perceived as Black at all. And I remember that all these years later, because I went home and told my mom. But see, I had a mom who already told me I was beautiful. So I wasn't, it didn't affect me in the sense of now I didn't think that I was on the list. But internally, I was like, I'm not going to act a fool in this lunchroom because I'm pissed that I'm not on your list.
Yeah.
To pick who had the prettier skin tone and didn't even include me or people that look like me in the equation. And to a certain degree, I'm like, you didn't do that by accident.
No.
It's either learned or it's a microaggression. It's something, but you went down a whole list of people and left me out. So
Which is the no, I was gonna say it's like, which is the bad doll, which is the good doll.
Right.
And you have a black and
Right.
white doll.
But
Yep.
once again, if you put the gap or the curly hair or the blonde hair on a person with one of the skin tones that she
One of
mentioned,
the right ones.
then that would be okay. See, that's the difference that we're trying to get at here.
Yeah. And it's and look at what's thrown at us as women that are the most beautiful Black women. I mean, lately it's changed. Viola Davis.
Hallelujah.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Viola Davis. Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita.
Okay.
I live for Lupita.
Beautiful women. Now, I remember for a long time, these women would not be considered beautiful unless they had European features, because white features still trumped over
Ethnic
our
features.
features. Yet on the other hand, we may not be the standard of beauty, but every man wants to do us because how are Black women perceived? We are highly sexualized. Never mind the fact that Africans come from a place, it's hot. You're just not going to wear a lot of clothes. There's no need for it. The Europeans came over and made it dirty. And this has carried all the way over to today, which we have to be careful how we dress. My favorite thing is leggings. I hate leggings. If you are a woman with curves and you go, this happened in my office. Skinny girl goes to the office with leggings and a dress blouse. Doesn't look so bad. Black woman goes to the office. She got a bit more going on. All of a sudden, it doesn't look right. How does this change? How do we get rid of the narrative, this hypersexualization of, you know, from little Black girls being seen as sex objects?
I have no idea.
How do we get out of that?
I gotta be honest, I don't know.
How do we get away from me at 13 years old and I had nobody? I was a toothpick. And one day I thought I was cute, walking down the street, got my little jeans on, got my button-down shirt, got my little red vest, got my hair out because it was braided for a while. So now it's all out, you know, looking like old school Janet Jackson, back on Good Times and stuff like that. And this old man looks at me. Hey, mommy. Man old enough to be my grandfather.
You.
It is because of that man that for the longest time I wouldn't wear anything that was form-fitting in any way, shape, or form. And I was lucky because nothing happened beyond, hey, mommy.
Jesus.
But why is it in the media, the music videos, everywhere, Black women are hypersexualized? In dating, especially if you date outside your race.
Oh,
Guys
boy.
think you're a little bit, you know, the other guys are going, so she is wild as they say they are. Because I'm pretty sure the majority of white men have had the conversation of, when somebody is with a Black woman. How was it? Was it as wild? Was it as crazy? Because for some reason, when they show an intimate scene with us, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anybody else want to talk on that? Because then I will just push on. Everyone's laughing
Well,
because
see,
they're
here's the
like,
thing.
we don't got
Okay,
the time.
Okay, so here's the thing. Now, as far as me personally, I don't think I've ever been in a position, well, that's not entirely true. I mean, any show that I would do, you know, there was always, one way or another, there would end up being a joke regarding my shelf up here.
Your
because
assets.
let's be real, I'm blessed. Just look, I cannot sit there and act like I don't know or that I'm unaware, okay? I know this, okay? My cleavage walks into the room 20 minutes before I do. Let's just get real. But I also know what it's like to have that situation where they don't understand, they're just like, I don't understand how you can find her attractive, to the people that's like, oh, I bet she's done a whole lot of things. For some strange reason, this myth of experience gets projected onto you.
Yes.
Yes.
Whereas there's also the opposite side of the spectrum, which is usually me, in that they're just like, oh, well, I never really thought of you like that. The first and only time, at least I can remember to my face anyway, was in college when one of the guys in my group of friends, apparently they'd been talking about the girls in the group, of course, because that's what guys do. That's what girls do. They were asking some of the guys about, you know, what do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? And my name came up, which I was shocked at. But as it turned out, one of the guys, Eddie, was very casually, he's just like, no, yeah, she's pretty cute, you know, for a Black girl.
Mm.
Mm.
It got back to me. It was the last time that ever happened around us guy, because I lost it. I absolutely lost it. But there's this like this wide spectrum. There's like these two extremes where you cannot be one, but you can't be the other either. It's so strange. Jill Scott was just mentioned like all over social media just the other day, because some dude could not understand why people find her attractive, why they find Jill Scott attractive, and she's got the whole Earth Mother Neo soul thing down. A girl that size, I was just like, hold it down for all of us, would you please? Because you are killing it. You are absolutely killing it. So he started talking about how unattractive he thought she was, and Twitter just came at him. They ripped that boy apart within like a day and a half. He was just like, okay, have my publicist write something apologizing for even saying it. On the other hand, when she was there's a very famous clip of her at one of her concerts, holding the microphone, and she was singing one of her songs about sex, because it's a very big topic with her. She was holding the mic and she was showing off her skills. Let's put it that way. And folks lost it on that one. This was a couple of years ago, and they were just like, how could she? That's so vulgar. That's this, that's that, da, 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 da. And I'm just like, no. Y'all were screaming your heads off about how fantastic it was with Madonna, with Miley Cyrus writing things and all this kind of stuff. But this large Black woman is not allowed to express that not only does she have sex, she enjoys it.
Yeah.
So it's very strange. Yeah, it's either two ends of the spectrum. It's one or the other.
And then,
it's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
It's what's at the heart of the matter of what we're trying to express in this panel, which is the first layer of it is just misogyny and the patriarchy. Like across the board. If you're a woman, you're dealing with these issues in terms of the issues of control of the body, the issues of labels. What labels do we put on a woman? The issue of, Madonna whore, virgin mother crone, all these different, categories that women are put into, over sexualizing women, over sexualizing little girls. And then if you are a woman of color, then there's the other layer, right? You have the history of racism and the history of, and I know I mentioned this in the other panel, the history of a Black body as commerce, a Black body as commodity. And the simple answer of, how do we get beyond these labels? How do we escape this duality? It's really getting to a place where, as women of color, where we own who we are, whether we're a modest person or whether or not we want to let it all hang out. Because true freedom and privilege as a woman, and then the extra layer as being a woman of color, is being able to do whatever the hell you want without someone defining it. But then the other side of it is also a lack of bias and judgment coming from other people. Both have to happen in order for the answer of what do we do about this? What we do about it is we keep being ourselves and we keep insisting that everybody else leave us alone and let women and women of color be whoever the hell they want.
And don't fetishize us.
Yeah.
Well, I
Black
don't think anybody
women
wants to be
on
fetishized.
dating apps,
Oh,
the messages I would get.
do we want to hear this?
And I would always say, I'm not going to get into the messages, but I will say this. My comeback was always, I am not your Black experience.
Hello.
I
Yes.
am not your bucket list. Plain and simple.
Say that.
I am a human being. And I am not, don't come to me because you're just curious. I'm like, dude, I'm worthy. I am worthy of you taking me home to meet your parents. That's who I am. I am not just, now granted, if we're both just like want to do a little one and done because we need to scratch an itch, that's fine. I am all about that. But you do not come at me because
I've always wanted to do a Black girl.
yeah, Black girls just seem so fun.
They're so
I'm just
exotic.
Exotic. Oh my God. The exotic. The word exotic. You
The word
acids.
exotic.
Savage and exotic.
Now, granted, I can get it. Everybody has their preference. There's some men that love a woman with an ass. They don't care what ethnicity she is. It's a visual fine. But just to go after a certain ethnic group of women to get your jollies off, so that you can go to your buddy boys and say, yeah, I hit that.
Let me tell you this though, and all of this I've experienced as well, but it's also women who, once again, I went into a major discussion about being sexualized in panel 1, so I'm not going to repeat what I said in regards to that.
Oh Lord, that was
but it is something that I have noticed. For me, it has to do a lot more with women that I encounter making those kind of assumptions, and sometimes it's not even verbal; it's nonverbal cues that I pick up on. Yeah, it literally. and it can be so subtle, but it is that up and down look. That I get. But like Maya was saying, one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older is I've just stopped caring. If you choose to, think that way of me, that's your issue. That is not my issue. And at this point in my life, I'm tired of making it my issue. It's not. So you go home and stew over the fact that I look better in this pair of leggings than maybe somebody else.
Candace.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Tisa, what were you saying, babe?
No, that's it. I just, it really boils down to, at this point, when it comes to over sexualization, that's somebody else's issue, not mine.
Yeah. Now, for me, you can't see below my screen, but I've been busty since I think 13, 14 years old. I haven't been able to look down and see my feet since I was about 14.
Breach.
I was one of those girls who developed really, really like suddenly one summer, woohoo! It kind of went all crazy. Now, here's the thing though. I was this 14-year-old with the body of a 25-year-old and the mind of an extremely innocent, very, very well protected 14-year-old. I remember being in high school and I had this dress and it was my favorite dress. It was my favorite dress. And this is, a long time ago. So the dress was kind of frilly and it was blue and there was flowers on it. It had this lace border and it had this kind of drop neckline to it. And it was my favorite dress. It was an Easter dress that I picked out one year and I wore it all the time because I felt beautiful in this dress. Like I every time I put it on, I felt like the most beautiful girl in the world. And, and most little girls have some outfit, even grown women, where you just put it on and you feel good.
Yeah.
And that was this dress for me. And I was in the marching band. I've always been a geek, always will be. And I was in the band and we were going somewhere for a concert. I was in concert band as well. We were going somewhere for a concert and we get on the bus to go to this concert, or I think we were coming back from the concert. Get on the bus to come back. And I'm getting on the bus and I have on my beautiful dress and I feel wonderful and it's a beautiful day. And I guess one of the boys was staring at me. And his girlfriend noticed.
Oh.
Now I didn't, by the way, notice. I didn't notice. Until someone yelled out that he was staring at me. And then the girlfriend, this little white girl, yells back, yeah, Tammy Thomas has cleavage. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't sound too serious. But the way she said cleavage, the venom that was put on the word cleavage,
yeah,
the hate that was put on the word cleavage, she said it in such a way that I was instantly a whore. I was dirty. I was nasty. I was one of those girls. And I didn't, I remember just kind of being stunned and then just stunned. And I went to my seat. Well, actually I went to a much further seat. And I never wore that dress again. I never wore that dress again. I remember my mother suggesting I wear it one day because she knew it was my favorite dress.
Yeah.
And I never, ever put that dress on again. Because when you're 14 and you think like a really young, innocent 14-year-old, you don't understand why cleavage is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. When you're 14 and you think like a 14-year-old, you're not thinking that you're ugly in your favorite dress. You're thinking that you're pretty in your favorite dress. And at 14, you're not able to rationalize that is their issue. Now, yeah, that's that bitch's issue. Fuck her. But at 14,
yeah.
So I say to you, I say this story to tell you that when you're teaching your daughters to love themselves, teach them to respect others as well.
Yes.
Teach them to let others love themselves. Teach them not to shit on someone else because Tammy Thomas had cleavage at 14 and no one else did. I wasn't doing 90% of the things that people were doing at 14. And here's the thing. Who gives a fuck if I was? I wasn't, but who cares? What if I was?
Yeah.
At 14, that is not a time for anyone to make me feel that ugly.
Yeah.
That is not a time to
Period,
anyone
period.
make me feel like I'm that sexualized. Like, fuck that.
Right.
So teach your daughters better.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just teach your
Teach our
sons to get
daughters and our
consent.
sons.
Yes.
And
know, get-
especially that, yes.
Yeah, but teach your daughters better.
Yeah.
Don't let your daughters rip apart another woman.
Right.
If we're supposed to be feminists now, then all of us should count.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let your daughters put your hands in, I'm in the bathroom and their hands are in my hair and they're 14 and
Yeah,
15.
don't let your daughters touch some other chick. What the hell? No.
Yeah.
They need consent too.
It's true.
How-
It's
how-
true.
How come your hair is not like other Black people?
I remember being told for like most of my high school experience, well, he only likes you because you've got big boobs. Really? Because there's no other redeeming factor about me other than boobs?
Yeah.
Like nothing? I don't, no one's ever seen my face? No one's ever talked to me? No personality? Nothing? Just walking set of tits? Oh yeah.
And on
Yeah,
that,
it's yeah.
no, I was just gonna, because I want to jump onto another topic, but somebody posted this. Black women are sexualized as early as 5 years old. White women as early as 10.
Yeah.
Again,
Actually, I was going to bring that up. It's called adultification bias.
white
Yes.
women are up here, and we're here.
Yeah. 5.
And that,
For some reason, we're older.
yeah. So I'm going to dovetail into James Marion Sims developed pioneering tools and surgical techniques related to women's productive health and is credited as the father of modern gynecology. Guess how he was able to do that? By conducting experiments on Black slave women without any anesthesia, just treated them like cattle. Think about that the next time you go to the gynecologist. The women who have had to suffer because they were his property for our modern day OBGYN needs. And that takes me into the next topic, which is Black women in the medical industry, being treated by the medical industry. Here's a quick little note. Recent studies of new medical students still believe Black people don't feel as much pain as white people.
What's the percentage on that?
Look it up, like 50%.
Yeah,
it's like
Look it
something
up.
really high.
Still,
Yeah.
I'm
Look it
I'm
up.
trying to understand that. I'm trying to understand that.
I don't know what melanin got to do with it, but look it up. And that leads me to how we are treated by doctors. Miss Maya,
Oh
the
boy.
floor is
The
yours.
floor is yours.
Okay, so this is quite a journey. And once again, what we're talking about is the onion layers. Women in general deal with this crap. Women of color have the extra added layer. So I have a million stories that I could tell, but I'll give 2 quick examples. Background information for people watching the panel who don't know, I happen to have a lot of health problems. A lot of injuries, an autoimmune disorder, and a bunch of other things that have been finally, after years, I'm talking like a decade of trying to get help, some of them have finally been diagnosed. When I was trying to solve the mystery of some of what's going on in my body, and before I had official diagnoses, I went to one doctor who was highly recommended to me by someone who I love, and I believe that this doctor was a good doctor for him. I went to this doctor, and he walked into the room, and the first question he asked me, because he did not look at my chart, and he told me he did not look at my chart, he was like, "What are you?" Now, of course, as we know, if you maybe saw the biracial and multiracial panel. What are you is a common question that mixed people get. So of course, my first hope is that he's asking me this question maybe because there's some rare thing that only people who have my mixture might get, some rare condition, right? That's my hope. But, you know, it's the first question he asks. He takes one look at me and asks, what are you? And before I could answer him, he just sort of looks me up and down and he's like, so why are you here? And I'm like, well, I'm having this cornucopia of symptoms, and I was sent to you to help me solve this mystery. And he says, well, I didn't bother looking at your chart, but I can just tell you right now, nobody could have all of those health problems and all of those symptoms. You're obviously mentally ill. And he walked out the room. And his nurse came in afterwards and looked at me, and I burst into tears, of course. And she looked at me and she was like, go find another doctor. He does this to all women of color. It's not you, it's him. And
oh my God,
that's just one example. I have had so many doctors tell me that my pain is not real. I spent 3 years begging for an MRI and I was told my pain is not real. Turns out I have a tumor pressing on my spine. My pain is totally real. I have had doctors tell me, oh, well, you're just being hysterical. Literally, just by sitting there and talking to them the way I'm talking to you, I've been told I'm hysterical. I've been told my pain isn't that bad. I've been told I'm mentally ill. It has taken years to get some of the diagnoses that I have. And I want to take all of my scans and all of my diagnoses and proof and go back to those doctors and shove it down their friggin' throats. These doctors have cost me years of my life and years of pain, and all because, one, they don't take me seriously because I'm a woman, and two, because I am a woman of color. I don't know anything. I'm dumb. I'm not really feeling the pain. And if I'm experiencing this, presenting the way I do, being a multiracial woman, then what is it like for my Black friends and my Black relatives? And this is so ingrained in our culture. I have several friends who are doctors, and I've had friends who are doctors be like, it's just not the white males, it's the white women too, because they're part of the system. And this all goes back, I'm like a broken record, I'm gonna keep repeating myself, this all goes back to the idea of bodies of color being a thing, being a commodity, being a thing, instead of being a human being. The back to Candace's point about the gynecology, the maternal mortality rate, meaning the death rate of pregnant women and women in labor in this country, is through the roof.
Yeah.
It is 3 times worse for Black women than it is for white women. And one of the reasons for that is because when a woman of color, and there's a scale, literally it's better for white women, and then it's not as good for Asian women, and then not really great for Hispanic women. And if you're a darker Hispanic woman, it's not great. And if you're a Black woman, it's terrible. If you are a woman of color and you say you are in pain, you are more likely to have a doctor tell you you aren't really in pain, and they won't investigate it. And that's why women of color are dying in droves in this country.
Yes.
Simply because they are not being listened to.
Yeah.
It is death by negligence, and it's negligence because of racism.
Mm-hmm.
You think Tisa? No, yes, T.
So one of the other experiences you get, at least I've gotten as a Black woman, I don't have any kids. I've never had any kids. I've never actually even been pregnant. Nothing like that. When I do go to the doctor and they ask you all those questions and they go, oh, well, do you have any kids? And I'm like, no. And they're like, any live births? And I'm like, no. And they're like, any pregnancies? And I'm like, no. And then they go, well, you have to include the abortions. Bitch, what abortions? Bitch, wait, what?
Ooh. Ooh.
The assumption
Uh-huh.
the assumption
Mm-hmm.
is that I've had the abortion, and like not just one, like apparently I've had a million.
Yeah, I heard the plural. I heard the plural.
You have to include the abortions. And I'm like, okay, so I've never had an abortion. And when you say that, there is always, it doesn't always happen, but there's often the one who asks you about the abortion. It does, yeah, Candace, really? Like, you can trust me and tell me. But why are we making the assumption that I'm having all these abortions? Like, Black women aren't just out there having a bunch of fucking abortions, y'all. Like, we're just not.
But aren't we? Because we're all welfare queens.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
God.
Yeah, I forgot. I am a welfare queen and having an abortion. I mean, like, seriously, that isn't the only method of birth control that Black women know about. But the shock, and I honestly don't feel like other women get asked that question or told you have to include the abortion.
I'm gonna go with no. I don't think
The
they have either.
abortions. Again, it's the assumption of it ties into the hypersexuality. The assumption of all I'm doing is out there fucking and getting knocked up and fucking and getting knocked up and fucking and getting knocked up. So since I don't have any kids, clearly I'm just getting abortion after abortion after abortion after abortion after abortion.
I will admit, I do catch when I go to the doctor, how many pregnancies have you had? 2. How many children have you had? 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Miss Tiza,
Yeah.
please.
Pretty much since you've started talking and I've absorbed. I'm not hysterical. I just absorb other people's feelings and emotions. So, and it's the fact that you started off with gynecology and us feeling less pain. So I am single too, and I don't have any kids. And, but I've always been that person who just wants to make sure that my system is humming along. Like, oh, I'm still in the game. Even if if it's 2 or 3 years down the road, I'm still in the game. Everything is still beautiful and lovely down there. So I tend to go to the gynecologist a lot because I just want to make sure everything is flowing beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go and you're single for, as long as I've been single, sometimes you do get, well, then why are you here? I'm like, because that's just a good practice for me to practice making sure that everything down there is still lovely and as it should be. So that's why I'm here. But I remember getting the same questions when I would go to the gynecologist. There were these assumptions of my sexual activity and all of these tests that I needed to take. And are you sure you don't need to take this test? Or why don't you need to take this test? You're the one who came in here and, oh, well, I want so-and-so to take this test, but I remember being called a scaredy cat. He's being a scaredy cat today. So we just have to make sure we keep her calm because she's a scaredy cat. And actually, you're the one who's making me feel anxious and scared. So I made a decision 8 years ago that I would never go to a white gynecologist again. Not only did I make that decision, I made the decision for me personally. I would only go to a Black female, preferably Christian gynecologist. My history and my concerns and so on. And then, when she gave me my exam, it was so fast that I was like, is that it? And she said, yeah, that's it. And I said, but it didn't hurt. And she said, should it?
Mm.
And then I said, so don't you want to ask me about all the tests that should be run, like for this and such and such and such? And she was like, well, do you need tests for such and such and so forth and STDs and all that? I said, no. She was like, then why would I run them? And the relief that I
Yeah,
felt
I'm like,
in her office was because she talked to me. It was the first time I've been talked to like a person. When I went to the gynecologist, I wasn't a stat. It wasn't assumed that I had slept with everybody under the sun. It wasn't assumed that I needed to take 20 tests before I got out of there. She addressed my direct issues, and then she let me go, and it didn't hurt. And it was the first time it never hurt. I had to change healthcare providers. And when I did, and I am getting to that age now where my AMH is dropping and all of that, so I don't have that many eggs left. So now I'm going, more often just trying to monitor what's left. But when I had to change providers, I thought to myself, if I have to travel so that I have a Black female gynecologist, I will do so. And I do. I travel far into New Jersey because I will not go to anyone else ever again.
Yeah.
And she's a different woman. And and I just happened to figure out that she was a Christian gynecologist too. I was like, great, check. This is great. This is comfortable for me. This is what, and I drive.
And
I am driven. It's like taking a limo to the gynecologist because I won't go to anybody else. And it's the same. It's the same. She treats me like a person. It doesn't hurt. We address my direct issues and what, I have an issue with just wanting to check my levels and so on and so forth. And then I'm out of there.
the fact that these medical professionals just in and didn't make sure that you were okay, that they weren't doing something that was hurting you. I'm like, these are medical professionals.
It took going to a Black woman for the first time for it not to hurt. I thought it was supposed to hurt.
That's I should have said this before and I didn't. You seeing some of our reactions. Here's an interesting thing I've realized, that even though we are all friends and we've known some of us for years, this is the first time we're hearing some of these stories. So we're getting the same experience you're getting of hearing these stories. And for me to hear that, and I feel like shit. When I went to the doctor and I said, I have pain in my back, he didn't even put his hands on me. He just said, here's a prescription and go. Didn't check to see if it was muscles or if it was nothing. He was just like, okay, well, here's a prescription and go. And I'm like, I'm getting older. Don't you want to check to make sure? Nope, couldn't give a shit. Just go. And these are the people that we're going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Maya should not have had to go through 10 years of, what are you? The only time your ethnicity should come into play, quite honestly, is that sickle cell, which you don't hear a lot of anymore. Sickle cell, and yes, there are some things that in certain communities, like the diabetes, but if I say never had any pregnancies, drop it. Never had any. Don't be surprised that when I say I had two and yep, two birds. Don't be surprised when somebody says, no, I've never had any pregnancies.
Don't be surprised if you don't have 5 million sexual partners.
Yes, we all don't sleep with the universe. Because who has time for that? I mean, really. I think we lost T for a bit. Hopefully she will be back. The next thing and the final thing, because we are coming towards our end, is Black women in the professional world. Women in the professional world have a harder time, period. But Black women, it is whether it's our hair, it's whether if we wear a pantsuit and the pants hug a little, because I have yet to find a perfect pair of dress slacks to encompass all of what I've got going on. It is expressing yourself in an office without being labeled the angry Black woman. Anybody wish to jump in on that one? I wished he was here because as a chef, I know she deals with a lot of this. Jump in, please. Paula, I see you prepping. Are you okay?
Are you kidding? I'm still dealing with this whole thing with Tisa. I'm sorry. Just like
Yeah.
the gall that they had, and it wasn't just one. It was a series of doctors. I swear to God, when I got pregnant, the first thing I did was I found an obstetrician, and I found a Black female obstetrician. And when that was all done and over and done, and I needed to get a gynecologist, I was scared to death to do it. I didn't want to. I didn't want some man staring down there. But finally, I went through all of our doctors, and I found a Black female doctor. So that when I tell her that something is wrong, she just talks about what's wrong, and that's it. Yeah. And the fact that you had to go through this, the fact that anyone has to go through this, it's demeaning, it's cruel. People like that should hang up their stethoscope. They should never ever touch another human being in the name of science. Never. I'm sorry.
No,
don't apologize.
Okay, I apologize.
Sorry, guys. Whew.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, okay. Now, all right. As far as being the angry Black woman, for the most part, I haven't had that be a very big factor in any corporate work that I've had. But one of the first times I had something like that happen to me, in the angry Black woman, in a job situation, I was 17. I was working in staff at camp. Mm-hmm. I was working at staff at camp, and it was one of the first experiences I ever had in harassment. And I mean, it's camp. Everybody messes with everybody. So, for the most part, I would give as good as I got. Right. So, and it was mostly about, insulting people. And, well, I was raised on some of the greatest insults ever. So I didn't have to worry about that. But there was this one time when there was they were having like a group picnic or what have you. And this was with a high school group. And some of the kids that we'd already known, they'd been there before, some years and everything. And so was I. And this has been like my third year working at the camp. And a bunch of us were just standing around talking. And one of the high school boys that we knew was standing next to me. And while we're in the middle of talking, I can't help but notice that I'm feeling a hand on my butt. Now, my realization, I think, was longer than the actual act, because my whole head just went, do I feel something? Is that real? Is he really doing this? Oh my God, I think he's actually doing this to me. And the actual reaction time was maybe about 3 seconds. There wasn't me, get your hands off me, blah, blah, blah. I'm running away from you. Please don't do this. Da, 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 da. There was none of that. My reaction was 3, 2, 1. I went straight for his stomach and I went, and don't you ever touch me again. Mm-hmm. And of course I got called in for that. I got called in for that. Oh, of course I got called in for that because I was working there. He was one of the campers. So I can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. What made it more insulting though, what made it really, really insulting was not just that it happened, not just that I got reprimanded for my response, but that some of the people that I knew that I'd been working with for who knows how long, some of the people that I knew, they joked around about maybe I imagined it. Maybe it didn't actually happen. I just wanted it to happen. Mm. And this was something that happened, and I was furious. And it was like this gaslighting. I don't think they intended it that way, but that's what happened. And I was speechless. But I also refused to act like I had imagined it.
Yeah.
I apologized for what I did. I did not apologize for why.
Yeah.
Ever. They thought I was crazy. They thought I was the crazy, angry Black girl. But I stood by myself. I was alone, but I stood by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to read something. I saw this on a bus stop Sunday, and I was like, wow, abrasive. The way in which a woman who doesn't sugarcoat her opinions and instead displays a confident and forceful personality is described as due to unconscious gender bias. Assertive. The way in which a man who doesn't sugarcoat his opinions and instead displays a confident and forceful personality is described as due to unconscious gender bias. So why is it that if he, and this has happened to me at work, I say, we should do XYZ. Chirp, chirp, chirp. White male says it. Hey, Candace, why don't we do this idea? And I'm sitting there going, why is it that when it comes out of this package, it was not valuable? Mm-hmm. When I say, don't do XYZ, and here is why. And here are all the reasons why. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, see, look in there. I'm showing you the reasons why. And then someone else goes, yeah, she's right. The reasons why. And then someone else has to go, male, yeah, these are the reasons why. Oh, well, then we're not going to do that. You could have saved yourself so much time if you listened to me for the first place, because I wasn't saying XYZ just for the fun of it. Mm-hmm. I was saying it because here were the reasons. But that was not good enough for you because it comes out of this package. Why is it? I'm pretty sure all of us have had moments that when we speak up,
we're dismissed.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, that's what it Constantly. Is. You're dismissed.
And it depends on how you speak up, because if you speak up forcefully, because once again, misogyny, patriarchy, and then you add the race factor, right?
Yes.
So if you speak up forcefully, then you're being too loud if you're a woman in general. Then you're being the angry Black woman if you're a Black woman and speaking up, or you're being an angry, feisty Latina. Like there are all the onion layers, right? But also at the same time, if you don't speak up forcefully, then you're passed over, and no one pays attention to what you're saying. And having to play these dual roles, having to navigate in these white spaces, and all of the extra work. I know we've talked about the extra mental loads before, all of the extra work that you have to do as a person of color and as a woman, and then as a woman who's a woman of color, when you're navigating any space, and especially your workspace. There's something that people of color, and especially women of color, do in professional spaces. You know, we make sure that we're dressed a certain way. We make sure that we speak a certain way.
And we can't dress the same way as our white counterparts.
You can't dress the same way. And then there's this idea of, you know, how am I going to be perceived if I say this way? How am I going to be perceived if I say this that way? And it's all about, once again, being treated like a human being, being treated like an equal, having the privilege of having your opinion in an office just being listened to,
being valued.
And what I found also, in addition to the angry Black woman part, because I'm pretty good at altering my voice to, you know, in regards to that, but the dismissiveness when it comes to the whole social game that needs to be played, the going out for drinks or the going out for dinners and being dismissed while in conversation. I remember managing and producing an event down in Texas. And so we were meeting with the regional sales manager down in Texas. And it was me and my, I suppose, business partner, but I was over that region and she was over me, but I was running that particular event. We went down and he, you know, hosted us, treated us, took us out with drinks, dinner, everything. And I noticed that every time he talked about the stock market, he only directed himself to her. And it was, and I mean, it's stuff like that that really irks me, because I typically know just enough about everything to make sure that I can hold my own in any conversation. And there were several times where I was dismissed and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. You know, I get that afterwards. But the fact that every single time, and they were obsessed with talking about it, and every time they talked about it, he only addressed himself to her. Only. It's like I wasn't even there anymore. I just dropped off the face of the planet. That's not something I would know about, right? Or something I'd be even interested in. So I guess I'm just gonna, on a level, pretend she's not there. And I would, like, you know, try to peer in and, you know, I'd look at her when she was talking and comment to her, kind of politely drop the hint for him. Never happened. Only ever addressed her when it came to it. Same, you know, issue of being around the table with him and other sales manager and, you know, us trying to get to know each other and talking about hobbies and so on and so forth. And other guys at the table, you know, good old boys at the table. They're like, really? That's a hobby of yours? That's an interest you have? I never would have pegged you for somebody who enjoyed that. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm really.
Hi, honey.
Yeah.
As a Black female chef in the workplace, that, you know, I've had my, you know, every job someone's come up to me and said, you only got this job because you're Black, yay. But it isn't just that. It's like what we go through in any work environment, only in kitchens, they're way less PC. So if someone's going to be a racist jackass to you, they're going to say it. Then, you know, in offices, they do that thing where they walk around the racism and they don't really, no, we're not being racist. In kitchens, no, they're being racist. They want you to know that. They're okay with you knowing that. And so you get, at one point, minimized. So you even if you're in a position of power, I am a chef, I'm a manager, I've ran kitchens, you're once minimized, but then they treat you like you're going to act one way, and then they ignore you anyway. So it's kind of like, am I here, am I not here? You know. But I've also had environments where I remember this, and this was 2 Latino women who did this to me. I was coming in for another job. I was transferring within the company and transferring to a new hotel location from one. And, you know, I had done a bunch of, you know, FaceTime interviews, that kind of thing. The company thought I was qualified for this new position and hired me. The company put me into this position. And when I get there, it's a couple of weeks and I get there, and the other female manager is actually a Latina woman. And then there's a Latina female chef. This actually is the only place I've ever worked where it was like girl power to the oomph. You know, like there was all sorts of girls running shit. But one day, one of them we were in the office and they were talking and they're like, you know, we were a little bit worried when you were hired. I'm like, worried when I was hired? Why were we worried when I was hired? And in this position, there was a supervisor, not a manager, just a supervisor who was a black woman. And they're like, well, we had to look you up and we looked you up on Facebook to make sure, you know, having two black women here that it wouldn't get too ghetto. What? Now this is again, two Latinas. This isn't two white girls. Two Latinas said, we had to look you up on Facebook to make sure with having two black women here, it wouldn't get too ghetto. And because I'm automatically ghetto.
It apparently when we're born, it comes with the melanin. The ghetto comes with the melanin.
Well, good thing I'm one of those good blacks. So hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're not black.
Good thing I'm one of those.
You're not like black. You know, it's not like one of those blacks.
So you know the shitty thing about the good thing about the culinary industry is that you know who the racists are, even if the racists are minorities. The shitty thing is I don't know. I don't know if it would be better if I could lie to myself and be like, well, maybe they're not doing that because because they're racist. I don't know the way I assume that it's hidden in offices. I don't know if that would be a better situation than having someone directly to your face say the hurtful things. In kitchens, they teach you to be strong. And they teach you to have thick skin because chefs all have thick skin. And I used to buy into it. I honestly used to buy into the bullshit. I used to think, yeah, chefs have thick skin because we're in kitchens and we chop things and we kill shit. And yeah, no, it's not. It's just a way of letting people get away with saying whatever the fuck they want to say to you.
Right.
It isn't about being a thick-skinned chef.
It's about people who want to get away with
saying whatever the fuck they want to say and then going, oh, you're being sensitive. You know, chefs aren't supposed to be sensitive. No, you're being a racist dick. And I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and here's the thing. At one point, and I can say this, at one point I was part of the problem. I was one of the chefs going to young black people coming into it going, yo, you got to have thick skin. They're going to say whatever the fuck they want to say. And that is part of the problem. When we say to each other, you check you, as opposed to we're going to check them, then we're part of the problem. And I was part of the problem. I was one of the women who said, yeah, sexual harassment is here and it exists in these kitchens, and, you know, put up with what you can put up with and cut everyone else. I've said that. That's my advice that I have given. And I am ashamed for having given that advice. I am ashamed that I didn't say, if someone sexually harasses you, you come get me. And after I fucking cut him, we're going to HR.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed that I didn't say to a young black person coming in, these white boys are going to do their damnedest to run you out of this kitchen. And they're going to minimize you, and they're going to make you feel horrible, and they're going to say racist things, and they're going to throw watermelon pieces at your ass, and they're going to do all these hateful things because they are racist. I didn't say that because it wasn't said to me, and I should have. And so I was part of the problem.
But it also, I think, it takes us going through shit, it's just like what's happening now. Look at all this stuff. All this whole chips and the cookie thing started because we were pushed so much that the pot was overflowing.
Yes.
And so much stuff happened, and we were all so affected by it because for so long we've been just keep quiet and stay in line, keep quiet and stay in line, keep quiet and stay in line. And then we've gotten to the point that we're like, fuck that noise. We're not keeping quiet anymore. We're not staying in line. We are here. We are not going to devalue your property. Please don't all of a sudden value our attributes. Tanning booth places get on my last nerve because I'm sitting there going, you want my complexion, but you don't want me.
Mm-hmm.
And I am tired of it.
Oh, yeah.
Tired. And it's like, it's not until we get tired that we start like coming back and saying this has got to stop. And my part of making this stop is listen to our stories, listen to the stories of your friends, listen to the stories of the people around you. Because if some of, like I said before, we don't know all these stories about each other. And I mean, I've known T for a long ass time, and there are stories I don't know because for some reason we're afraid to tell these stories to each other. I don't know why we don't, but I'm glad we're doing it now. And what my call to all of you is to listen to the stories, ask the questions. If you are curious, freaking ask, talk. Especially if you have kids, talk. Because this is their world. We're on the way out. Stella agrees with me. That's her dog.
Stella definitely agrees
This is
with you.
their
I'm
world.
gonna mute.
And we have to make this world better for them. And on that, just two more things I want to say because we're coming to the end of our, we've really gone through time. Just really quickly, I remember working at a school where I was helping to run the office for the after school, and the parents had to come to me to pay the tuition for everything. Man walks, can I help you? No, I just need her. Goes to the white woman who's in charge. She had the good sense. He's like, oh, I need to do this. She said, you walked right past the person you're supposed to get that done with. So you go right. She always, I will always love this woman. She always stood up. She always stood up for what was right. And when she saw slight racist stuff like that, she said something. And she said, she's sitting right there. She's the one you need to talk to. So you need to go back and talk to her. And then my final thing I'm going to give to Maya.
So a couple things. One is, we've been talking, we're women of color, chips in the cookie. One thing we want to acknowledge is that there are other women who aren't in this conversation, not because we're excluding them, but because this happened organically among friends. But there are women of color who are trans women, LGBTQ women. They have the onion layers as well of dealing with misogyny, dealing with race, and then dealing with the other layer of who they are. And so those are stories that you need to seek out. Those aren't our stories, but definitely seek out those stories. And we've been talking about a lot of things in this series, and we're so grateful to everyone who's watching them, and everyone says, what can I do? What can I do? How can I learn more? And as I said in the first one, and I'm just going to reiterate it, Google it. Google it. No matter what, let's say you have 2 minutes in a day, someone's made a 60-second video that can educate you, right? Whether you're into books, whether you're into YouTube channels, whatever media format you prefer, long or short, there's information out there for you to educate yourself. Listen to people. Don't make assumptions. We've all been talking about the assumptions that people make. Don't make assumptions. Educate yourself with media. And also in media, make sure, I'll reiterate this again, educate yourself, but not just about the struggle. People of color are more than the struggle. And one thing you have to be careful with as you educate yourself about systematic racism, about inequality and inequity, another way you can accidentally marginalize people of color is by thinking of us all as beleaguered, poor, unfortunate souls. That is another way to marginalize us.
Yes.
It is a fine balance to strike as you educate yourself about this crap. Remember the other side of it, which is we aren't all about the struggle. So also whatever you're into, seek out people of color and women who are making those things. Look into the food, look into the art, look into the movies, look into the whatever that you like, and find women and people of color who are making those things so that you can experience them. And if you try it once and you didn't like it, try it again. Because people of color have spent their entire lives finding the humanity in the things that white people produce. You can do the same. Remember that we are not all about the struggle. It is a radical act to celebrate life, and therefore you are being radical if you're a person of color by celebrating yourself, and you are being a radical ally if you participate in that too.
Yes.
And to go back to something Rod had said in the very beginning in our very first panel, look at the five of us. We are five very different women. We are five very different women of color. We all have very different stories. Some of our stories do intermingle with each other. But please don't paint us all with this one brushstroke. We are so many things. We are chefs, we are actors, we are dancers. We are really good friends with Big Bird. I mean, come on, we are so many different things. And we are magical. One of my favorite sayings ever is Black Girl Magic.
Black girl magic. Yep.
We've got, just saying that, I get tingles all over. Because not for nothing, I know I sure as hell have spent far too many years thinking that I was ugly and I was worthless and I was just not good enough. Because one, my eternal tan, which I love, because of my lips, because of what I do with my hair, what I choose to do with my hair, shave half of it off or not, because of my body shape, the constant body issues. But most of all, because I'm a woman of color and I'm not valued as me. I'm tired of feeling like that. And it is like an addiction to fight every day to say I am beautiful, I am kind, I am pretty, I am smart. So, and we all, no matter what race we are, what religion we are, we all have our issues. But do realize that for some of us, we got freaking subscriptions and volumes. We got the freaking Britannica.
Oh
Them
God.
books is heavy.
Yeah.
So,
Candace,
okay,
I
we've
want to
gone
hug
way
you so
over
hard
time.
right now.
Me
We've
too.
gone
I love
way
you,
over
baby.
time. So, thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you. Tiza, Maya, Paula, Tamara. Thank you, Rod, in the background there. And I just one last time want to say this. Tanisha Anderson, Ayana Jones, Deborah Danner, Joyce Quaway, Betty Jones, Natasha McKenna, Cynthia Fields, Antonia Jefferson, Noelle LaRoche, Rhea Milton, Remy Felds, Breonna Taylor. Say their fucking names! Because these women and trans women are being forgotten. And our lives fucking matter.
Amen.
I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Rod.
Love you,
There's
baby.
Rod.
Ooh.
There, he's there.
Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for a really powerful, very powerful panel in this series. And we're going to invite, because Candace wanted it this way, those of you who are actually on Zoom right now, some of you may want to ask some questions. We only have about 13 minutes or so that we have kind of mapped out for this whole thing. So there could be some questions. I'll try to summarize some of the comments that have come up, not throughout the rest of this. There are huge expressions of shock and horror, not just from the people who've been watching on Facebook as well as on Zoom, but I've gotten from myself as well.
About what?
Hearing about
what he was yelling about. Sweetie, I think he was doing a show.
from all these other experiences, especially Tisa, the medical stuff is brutal. It's brutalizing. There's no excuse for it, and some of that was expressed in some of the comments that you didn't see. Almost universally at the end, everybody's talking about you were way more than enough. Some people trying to quote Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live. Strong enough, you're great enough. Just look in the mirror and sit there and be like that. If you want to ask a question and you're on Zoom right now, go ahead and hit the raise hand button on your chat, and I will try to select you and I'll let you ask the question.
Thank you so much. I want to say, first of all, thank you to everybody here. Just your stories. I'm sitting here crying along. One thing that really struck me were how almost all, if not all of you, related stories of when you were young, teenagers or younger. I think that, as Maya explained, is an experience common to almost all women. Even my mother, as young as age 9, had a story. But the most important thing to me was to understand that extra layer that you face that we did not. And I wonder, I'm shaking as I ask this question, did you ever feel like those of you who were in active church communities growing up, did they provide any sense of safety or support to help you through that kind of scary thing? Were there church groups, Saturday mornings or what have you, where perhaps they would ever discuss these issues with you?
I went to a Catholic school, and one of the nuns overheard one of my friends in school, and we were talking about something that I had gone through, that the nuns turned a blind eye to. And there, I remember getting called into Sister David's office and being told that I should be thankful. I didn't want to go into that part of my life, but I should be thankful that my mother put me in the school and all of this. And I'm like, but you didn't really pay attention that I came to school with half my face bruised.
You're muted, Candy. You muted.
But I should be thankful. So for me, especially the Catholic Church, was not the place to go.
Catholics aren't real good with that.
Don't get me started with the Baptists trying to pray over my autistic brother, trying to pray the autism away.
Oh, Jesus.
Nice.
Um,
I'm sorry, what was the woman's name? I'm sorry, what was
Barbara.
Barbara.
Barbara, yeah.
Barbara. Let me let me answer your questions in two ways. Are there support systems in place for you in the Black community as a young Black girl? Yes, but you have to keep in mind that these are also people who are living the exact same existence as you are. Your mothers are supportive. Or at least for me, my mother was really supportive. My sister was really supportive. You know, I have family that could come to my rescue when I needed it. Some people have the church and some people don't. You know, traditionally religions, as Candace very clearly pointed out, traditionally religions sometimes aren't the best place to come to when you have an issue. There's a lot of it that is, there's a lot of the bullshit that's condoned. I mean, think about it. The people who are surrounding Trump mostly are really, really hyper-religious people. But are we necessarily alone in the world? No. Is it necessarily a church that's going to save us? Probably not. But for some, yes. That is a very individualized thing. You know, we are not all, the five of us are not going to all identify as Christians.
Yeah. But as someone who does identify as a Christian, it definitely has been a source of comfort and help for me. But I also look at it as being blessed as not having the negative experiences that have been talked about. Like Candace and I talk about this a lot, and her experiences that she had growing up with different groups, in particular with Catholic groups, are so reversed to the experiences that I have had. But just like Tamara says, it also had a lot to do with my mother and my grandmothers and those women sitting down with me and biblically reviewing what the Bible says, as opposed to what some other groups might say that it says. So I learned the value that I have in God came from my mother and my grandmother and my aunts. That's where it came from. And so when I go into a church setting, I go with the history that they provided me with. And then I also read and research myself, which Maya has definitely, been telling you, you've got to do your own work and do your own research. So when I say something or I believe something, I feel confident with it because I've researched it. And it is unfortunate in many instances people are experiencing some of what Candace experienced, and she's certainly not alone in that. So does that kind of answer it, Barbara, in the sense that it's got to be a little more personalized beyond just the group,
Very much so. And it's funny because as you each answered, I realized I didn't frame my question very well because I was raised Catholic, and so I know all of those issues also. I guess I was just really kind of searching for the answer that I just got from several of you, and that is it was your mother's, your grandmother's, your aunts, which is the logical answer. So I appreciate your taking the time to answer my question. Thank
you for watching and listening and hearing our stories and hearing us, and in some cases crying and laughing along with us.
Okay. And we have one more person. Thank you, Barbara, for joining us. Chad, let me go ahead and have you to unmute.
First of all, thank you guys, you ladies, for really putting yourselves in a vulnerable place to share this stuff with us. It's rough and really heavy. So thank you. The question I had was, I know, like when you were talking about beauty standards, you guys spent a lot of time talking about the hair, but I'm wondering also, I remember reading like a statistic somewhere that like, you know, or not a statistic, but like was reading an article that like the beauty industry, like for like makeup, right, is advertised largely towards white women, right? But the consumer base for cosmetics is largely women of color. So like what is your experience shopping for makeup, if that's a thing that you do? Like, how do you think about makeup and like how is it affected by the advertising versus I mean that's a big can of worms, right? But
yeah, we could be here all day.
Look at all of us. None of us is the same complexion. And it's funny, just the other day I was dyeing something in coffee just to get it to match my skin tone. None of us are the same complexion. And I'm considered red bone. So I just didn't wear makeup because it just never would match my skin tone. And then I remember Bobbi Brown came out with a makeup line. Do you guys remember Bobbi Brown?
Yeah.
And then Mary Kay had a makeup line. That kind. And then
kind of.
And then now, you know, like there's Fenty, there's this and that. And Paula, I'm gonna let you take this over because but the thing is now I remember, I think, was it Iman that came out with a makeup line?
Yes.
And I remember reading that for white women, there were basically like 7 shades, but to capture all the shades of Black women, there were 35 different ones.
And I've been told we're like 70, we have 72 different shades, but we have the least amount of shades to choose from.
Yeah. So Paula?
So when I first started acting in college, they said, go get a Bob Kelly makeup kit. Okay, the Bob Kelly makeup kit came in exactly 4 sets. There was fair, beige, olive, dark. Yep. That was it. And the problem was that set the tone for pretty much all makeup, not just in the industry, but also your everyday stuff. Yeah. God forbid that I get stuck out there without having any foundation. If my foundation ran out sometime and I was stuck in a room, you know, doing a show with everybody, guess what? I'm sunk because everybody else has got a different shade than mine. You know, I seriously though, God bless Fenty because that stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It is, but it extends to everything. Remember Posner? Remember when Posner came in? It was like a godsend. It still didn't get the shades quite right, but it was the closest thing we had.
Y'all remember Fashion Fair?
Yes, fair. Yes. With the tackiest little umbrellas you ever seen in your life.
I was too dark for Fashion Fair, so
sometimes it made sense.
I probably was too. But the way that they appeal to us, they expect us to be the consumers of bringing in all of this money, but they're not thinking about us as not just as individuals, but as that there is a range. And there's a range of women, of shades, of hues, and the hair thing is a whole other situation. If you guaranteed, you go to any pharmacy, go to a CVS, a Walgreens, Rite Aid, what have you, there will be like 2 rows of nothing but shampoos and mousse and hairspray and this and that and everything like that. And then all the way at the end of the aisle, that last little section from about, you know, like there's about maybe 3 feet of space. That is under the ethnic section. That's where you find the stuff that is actually meant for your hair. That's actually for my hair. It can't have the sulfates. It can't have these things in it because my hair is structurally different.
Do y'all remember
The makeup is
Sulfur
so good.
8?
Yeah.
Sulfur 8.
Sulfur 8, because that
I
was
remember
for
the
hair.
commercial.
Oh,
I remember the
wait.
commercial.
Yes.
You
Yes,
used to
I
grease
know
your
what you're talking
scalp with Sulfur 8.
about. Yes. Well, my mom used to use Vaseline for a while.
We use
And there was
VO5, so there we go.
VO5, exactly. There's lots of different ways. And for a very long time, they weren't really considering us. It was just as a monolith.
Yeah.
Everybody had to wear this one thing. But once they finally figured out, and it probably was Iman, the one that probably got it started, that it's a whole spectrum, it became this multi-billion-dollar business chasing down our stuff so that they could make that money off of us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's stunning to witness, but it's still hard because you go in somewhere. If I go to look for something like makeup in my shade or shampoo or anything like that for me on vacation, if I'm in the wrong town for that, I'm out of luck. I am out of luck.
Yeah.
Well, this is an extension of representation matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Like
yes.
that's what
Absolutely.
this is. It's not having to search for where you belong. The representation matters not only in terms of what we see on a screen. Representation matters in terms of the products that are available to people, and that's
Band-Aids.
That's key. Band-Aids, like all
And
these
now,
different things.
Still waiting.
At least they come in 5 shades now.
Yeah.
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 But,
it's
here's
just wanting to see yourself. It's wanting to see yourself represented when you walk down an aisle, and like
But anybody this is a perfect example. Like the past 2 days, we've had 2 cover shoots coming out on these major magazines.
The lighting.
Where Annie Leibovitz did a photo shoot for Simone Biles. Simone Biles. And the colors in it just doesn't look quite right. Whereas in Vanity Fair, and I'm guessing she insisted on this herself, Viola Davis got the first time in Vanity Fair history, a Black photographer to handle the cover shoot of it. And her pictures, there are some of the pictures where it's almost completely dark. She's wearing dark blue. She's showing the back. It's all dark and everything like that. But it looks so damn fierce, it makes you sick. You're like, I'm not worthy. So how do you take someone who is physically perfect and absolutely stunning in so many ways and mess it up? Yet on the other side, they found somebody who knows how to work the light, work the shadows, and everything in the right way. I took a look at a thing that I did like 5 years ago. I did this internet thing on MTV like 5 years ago, and the way that my makeup looked then, as opposed to the way it looks now, is like light years. I was in the dark, wearing nothing but just flat makeup with like orange lipstick, and I'm looking at it going, what the hell were they thinking? Because still, on to this day, they will have makeup artists that will never, that do not understand light and shadow across my face.
Yeah.
It stays that way. It stays that way. So yeah, it's beyond frustrating. It's in our commerce. It's in our books. It's in our movies. It's in everything.
I mean,
it's a constant fight. It is a constant fight.
I cry when I look at a lot of the photos that
Yes.
have been taken of me professionally, because they just can't seem to nail the lighting. And it's I'm in tears. Candace knows that.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
yes.
a big issue that I discuss with her in regards
Yes.
to lighting. And when it comes to hair and makeup, like on a shoot or something,
Said, oh my God, do your own hair. Do your own hair. They'll screw it
I
up.
do it myself, and then I sit in the chair, and they're like, there's really not much for us to do. And I'm like, and I intended it that way.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. Because I knew if I came up in here, y'all would screw me up. So yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Not enough.
All
I've
right.
got to deal with your lighting. So.
All right. So
So,
I'm sorry.
Rod,
I'm gonna have to.
yes.
We're a bit over time, so I'm
We're a
gonna have
little
to.
over, yeah.
Okay.
We're there. So I want to thank everybody online. You can go ahead and sign off. I'll ask for the panelists to stay on. Candace, you want to go ahead and close out everything? We're still live on Facebook with about 30 people still watching.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, so as I always say, this whole conversation, you saw that, you see my fingernail? And look at the rest of me. This conversation is just the tip of my fingernail. Go out, talk to people, ask questions, talk to your friend, feel uncomfortable. You will feel uncomfortable. I will tell you honestly, I have a lot of white friends, and I know there's certain things I just don't bring up because I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Screw that noise. I'm done with that shit. Ask, talk. This is the beginning. We all check ourselves. For those of us that are parents, instill in them the good people that they are and to judge each person on their merit. And you know what? Not for nothing. Yes, I'm a Caribbean woman. And yes, come Labor Day, we wear next to nothing and we are, we show off all our goodies because we come from a hot climate and we're celebrating. And instead of you looking down at us being like, ew, what's that? How about celebrate the whole fact that we're just here to celebrate each other? And women, let's celebrate each other.
All of us.
Don't pull each other down.
Say that.
You look at Lizzo and you say, you go ahead and rock yourself. You go ahead. You look at Simone Biles and you say, girl, you go ahead. Raise each other up. Because throughout history, some of the people that have held Black women down, let's just lift each other up. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. Sorry I cried a little bit too much. I'm an emotional
girl, we all
person.
cried. We don't have to go out and get shots someday.
Yeah, I need to take now. So thank you. Much love, much peace. Lift each other up. Have conversations and say her name.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.